Hey everybody, my name is Jay, and we're talking about Kilik today. If you haven't watched my video titled I Got Every Character in Soul Calibur 6 to S rank and this is how I did it yet, please do so, as I'll be going through this character in the same format that I discussed topics in that video, and I'd rather not make the same disclaimers in each video. Kilik is an incredibly simple character to play, based mostly around mid-range spacing and pushback, coupled with a great sidestep, making it frustrating for the opponents to get in. The character is on the weaker side in a lot of ways, but his straightforward game plan can help you get used to more passive play without getting mired in complicated stance work and pressure. When it comes to block punishments, you don't have a -10, 12 you have an AA, 14 you've got BB, 16, 6 BB, -18, 4 KB. Kit's block punishment is overall okay. You don't have anything in -10, and the -12 being AA is a little good and a little bad. The issue is the fact that this is just +2 on hit, which means players in the know aren't really going to respect you after AA hits, because they don't really have to. If you get into that situation often, it may be best to use 2A as your -12 punish. It's less damage, but you do have better frame advantage, plus it puts you in crouching, which can be really good for Kilik. At I-14, you've got your classic BB, which is great since it's the best BB in the game. You've got a third hit in BBB that gives you a break attack that pushes out, and it's a force block with BB on hit. A traditional knockdown for your I-16, which can also be done from crouch, mind you, which is nice. And your I-18, you've got 4 KB, which gives you decent damage and a knockdown, putting the enemy a good distance away from you, which is what Kilik prefers in the first place. Sometimes 4 KB, this can have a few off-axis whiffing issues, so I just want to put that out there in case you feel like this happens to you often enough. Maybe 6 BB is where you want to go with your punish instead. The while rising game is one of Kilik's strongest points. So if you play the character enough, you'll find yourself constantly step ducking, or ducking merely for the sake of using your while rising moves. I think by default, this is a totally fine strategy, and you should force your opponents to find an answer to it. Be mindful of when they appear to be shoving awkward mids at you to cover for you constantly ducking, but there's not much of a reason to change the strategy before that. Your -12 punish is while rising K, and it gives you a knockdown, so hey, nothing to complain about there. While rising B is your go-to everything kind of punish. While rising B, 6 BB, B plus K. This is everything. What do you want? You step duck into a whiff punish grabs with it, whiff punish highs with it, fish for a counter hit with it, catch step punish with it because the hitbox tracks to all hell. Yeah, this move is the centerpiece of both offensive and defensive Kilik gameplay. One move that I think goes really underrated is while rising A. You can't rely on the game to give you a tracking vertical in while rising B all the time, especially when the opponent is looking for it, and while rising A is a fantastic poke. It's a huge hitbox, it's good damage, it's barely unsafe, it's -10. Oftentimes I find myself enjoying this move more than while rising B, and not just because I want to be a big old hipster about it. Oki. Oki is an area where Kilik really struggles. His pressure is so much stronger when the opponent is standing, and his ability to catch roll is quite limited. You can find places where 3B is going to catch roll, but not often. Maybe a 2K, but this is where Kilik really gets desperate. A solid go-to can be like a 1A. You'll get like some damage. You're not going to get like the full thing, but you'll get some damage when people roll. But the fact that it's pretty decently unsafe and barely does any damage when you're on the ground, it makes it tough to get excited by this option. 6-6B can do the same thing, but again, the damage is so minimal that often people are perfectly willing to eat it on the ground and continue rolling away. 4A plus B is a super hard read you can also do, but will frankly only work on people just heavily going for rolling and not even paying attention to what you're doing. So frankly, all the options Kilik has here are kind of a big shrug. Kilik's grab game is fine overall. I wouldn't say you get a ton of opportunities for grabs like some other pressure-intensive characters do, but the damage and situations you get off of them are solid. Like some characters, he has a good Oki grab, his forward grab, and a reversing position / ring out grab in his back grab. which also happens to be a techable knockdown. As you can see, you're not getting any Yoki out of this at all. If it feels like you're dealing with someone who is aware of which grab is more advantageous in which situation, you just go with the inverse of what's more favorable to you, and the grab will work more often. If the back grab is going to ring out, for instance, best to go with the forward grab, as no one in their right mind is going to be breaking forward. If you do find yourself running into someone like that, well, hey, then, then I guess the back grab for like a one-touch KO is the way you want to go. Now, although I rarely talk about meter usage in these videos, I find it's pertinent to mention Kilik's Soul Charge since it's so unique and should really be mentioned in the grab section specifically. In Soul Charge, he has a forward and back command grab, just 6A plus G versus 4A plus G. The forward grab is the one that everybody's going to initially be afraid of, as it does somewhere between 1 and 2 trillion damage. So by default, kind of similar to Astaroth, except with the back grab, people will be breaking forward, which gives you more opportunities for a back grab. The more you do back grab in this situation, I think the better. The game plan for Kilik is relatively straightforward at the beginning. We don't have to worry about the auto GIs yet, as you don't want to get into the habit of constantly making hard reads on these when you don't know proper spacings for your moves. That's more important first. The main things you're trying to pull off is Wall Rising B, 6BB, B plus K, as a duck punish, step duck punish, and counter hit tool. And then you've also got 2-2B, AB, 4KB, B plus K, or you might just want to go with 4KB into B plus K. It has to do with spacing. You get used to it as time goes on. And 3B, 4KB, B plus K. As a backstep with punish. Like, you pepper somebody with small lows, and then you back up, and bam, you got them. This is what the opponent should be looking for the most part. So in order to set this up, this kind of stuff, you've got things like AA, BB, and 4A. The main focus should be space control. Kilik players are known to be very spammy compared to other characters, and for good reason. Everything the character has spaces out to where it's difficult to know when you can press. More mid-range tools include things like 3A, the 6A string, 6AB combos into AAA. This is unsafe, so if you can counter hit confirm it potentially, then you've got that. Or you can do 6AA, which is a high at the very end there. And then you also got like 4KB, just as a general poke. It's not just like a combo filler. Some additional lows for when you've got your opponent stand blocking can include like 1A, which can do some good work, but is, again, decently unsafe. And 2-2K slide B, which is an amazing low for being like safe on block, and it's great on hit, and it tracks, and is really only kept in check due to its really unusual input. I really like this kind of thing. I should also mention Kilik is amazing when you're in those situations where all you need is a tiny bit of extra damage to kill, and the opponent needs to make a big comeback. He has a whole suite of moves that make things so irritating, including strings like 2A slide B, 1KB, moves that put you in the air like 3K and jump A. These moves just make it so awkward to try and snowball pressure into stuff that gets the opponent around. So, Kilik is fantastic at just making things very awkward. Now, Kilik is great at keeping the sticky characters away and being annoying. But what if the opponent is playing a character with more range and wants to space out more than Kilik? Think like Aswell or Ivy, stuff like that. Well, sorry to say there isn't a great answer for that. Kilik's natural spacing out really becomes a hindrance when he needs to get in himself, as all of his buttons push him away, naturally. 6-6A can certainly do some work for getting in, but this is, frankly, really one of his big weaknesses, and you'll just have to try to get in the old-fashioned way. Now, again, I don't typically get into meter tactics when I make these videos, as I don't believe it's necessary when starting a character, and it would just make these videos a little bit too long. But Kilik's Soul Charge is so drastically different than everyone else that I think this one specifically bears mentioning. Kilik's Soul Charge forces you to progressively lose health, and you can cancel it with 8B plus K to regain a little health whenever you want. Just make sure not to cancel it at a time where you can get whiff punished. When you're in Soul Charge, boy oh boy, you've got a variety of things to do. If you really feel like you need some spacing out, you've got 1, 2, or 3 B plus K, aka your pillars, which hit on the ground. They're great for force blocks on certain knockdowns, stuff like that. I don't entirely recommend you do this as just like a projectile spam, as you're kind of, you know, when you're losing health, you're kind of on the clock, and could eventually die just from health degradation. But this doesn't matter if you're already at the lowest health you can possibly be, so it can be a tactic against characters that still need to get in on you in those specific situations. For getting in, you got 668 plus B, which is just amazing for every reason aside from being a bit slow. Once you're in, people should be worried about your command grabs like I mentioned previously. If you find that they are, then 6-6B becomes the main move to use. I've often found that I do better and better the more I use 6-6B in Soul Charge. While Rising B plus K, the cans, into either CE or into 6-6B is great for a While Rising punish. And 4B is just so janky and frame trappy, it's really frustrating. You can do the whole string, you can do 2 of them into a 6-6B, you can do 1 of them into a 6-6B, it'll still track really frustratingly, boy oh boy. Just cancel a string at any time for a 6-6B and frame trap and you're golden. Once you have all that down, the main thing to do is just find when an opponent is not ready for your I-12 CE. You can use it as a post-RI, you can use it as a whiff punish, a block punish, anything. All in all, Kilik can be a great starting character that gets you used to traditional spacing fundamentals, but you can still have fun mashing your face off on some crazy strong tracking verts as well. Although getting used to the weaknesses of approaching an Oki can be difficult, you can get used to the character overall really quickly, and you don't have to worry about extreme execution issues. The spacing and timing fundamentals you learn with Kilik can also be transferred over to other characters in the future, even ones with much shorter range, and hey, hopefully even for characters in SE7. So he's definitely worth a try. That's going to be it for Kilik today. Please let me know what you think, do all the YouTube things, like and subscribe. We'll go over the next character next time, so I'll see you then.